What's going on, everybody? I've had a bunch of people asking me to do a breakdown of specific teams. Hadn't really felt like doing just any random team, but when one of my boys comes at me and is like, yo, please do a breakdown of my team, I'm going to do it. So my main man, Murph, is for you, bro. I'm going to put it down on paper so you know what to look for this year. So I'm going to break down the Oakland Raiders, the 12-4 Oakland Raiders. Hype and why they're going to be just as good this year, if not better. And it could be the one team out of the AFC that can give the Patriots a serious run for that throne. So, we'll start on the offense side of the bar. Obviously, you got to start with Derek Carr. Kid's a beast. He's going into his fifth season, and the way last year ended for him, I'm sure left a very sour taste in his mouth, breaking his leg beginning of week 15. No one wants to go out like that, especially when you're doing as well as they were doing. But even missing the last two games of the season, he threw for 3,900 yards and 28 touchdowns and only 6 picks. And you got to figure if he plays the last two games, he's going to finish with at least about 4,500 yards around there and a couple more touchdowns. So, he's going to finish as a top 5 quarterback. As it was, he was already top 5 in a passer rating. His passer rating was like 96.7. And I think there was only like 4 guys that were higher than him, and you can probably name them because they are the top caliber guys. You're talking Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers. Actually, Dak Prescott was up there too. So, this guy is a top echelon quarterback. He's only getting better and better every year. Like I said, 96.7 passer rating, and it's gone up every single year. So he's getting better and better and better. And the more weapons and stuff they give him, obviously the better he's going to be. So, we had Latavius Murray last year, who was a pretty good running back. He only had like 750 yards, but, the guy it was like 12 touchdowns. And, he could smell the end zone really well. So, obviously, he leaves. But now you bring in Marshawn Lynch, beast mode. I can't remember last time Marshawn Lynch didn't rush for 1,000 yards. So, now you're adding a phenomenal running back to that offense. So that's only going to improve your game. The defense is, it's just another guy you got to account for. So that's really going to open things up for him as well. On top of that, you already have Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper's been a beast since the day he stepped on the field. He had almost 1,200 yards last year. He only had 5 touchdowns. They didn't get in the end zone a lot, but still, when you have 80-plus receptions and 1,200 yards, it'd be nice to get in the end zone more, but, 5 is fine. Obviously, when they're getting down inside around the red zone, they were handing off or throwing dump-offs, whatever it may be. So, Amari Cooper's a beast. And then you had Crabtree last year. Old Crabtree, 1,000 yards, 89 receptions. He was very, very good, a solid number 2. And if you're like, I don't really know about him, all right, well, they bring in Cordell Patterson, who is 6'2", 220, can fly, strong. He adds stuff to your return game. He's going to be a beast as well. So you're like, damn, so now he's got 3 legit wide receivers. What else more do they need? Probably nothing. But they didn't stop there. They were like, you know what? What do we need? Let's go get a solid tight end. So they call up Green Bay and they're like, we'll take Jared Cook from you, Jared Cook's a beast. He's as solid as a tight end as you can possibly get. So obviously offensively, they should have no issues whatsoever moving the ball. As it was last year, if you watch them play, they were exciting to watch. They like to air it out, and they're a really, really good football team offensively. Now defensively, they have one of the best linebacking cores in the league. They have Khalil Mack and Malcolm Smith and Bruce Irvin, who all in their own right are phenomenal. Khalil Mack, Pro Bowler, absolutely ridiculous. Next to Luke Kuechly, he's probably the best linebacker in the game right now. So, it's a toss-up between him and Luke Kuechly. Who would you rather have? And at this point, it's probably Khalil Mack because he seems a little more athletic and he's not dealing with concussion issues. So, you'd probably want him. The guy had 11 sacks last year. Double-digit sacks every year is going to get you a lot of places on defense. Not only him, Reggie Nelson in the secondary, was top 5 in interceptions. He had 5 interceptions. So the secondary is getting better, and they also addressed it in the draft by picking up another safety and another corner, because if there was anywhere that they lacked in, it was in the secondary. And it's weird. If you look at them on paper, I looked up some stats to try to see, and they weren't ranked great on defense. They gave up a lot of yards. Like overall, I want to say they had like the 26th ranked defense. Against the pass, they were like 27th. Against the run, they were 24th. But the biggest thing, they didn't give up a lot of points. So they kind of had that bend but don't break. The teams may move the ball up and down the field, but when they got down where it mattered, they were able to stop them or come up with turnovers, because they were a top 5 defense in turnovers. So the defense obviously is pretty stout, and they're going to be healthy, and they're going to be very, very solid. So I think the Raiders are as real as it gets. And if you look at the matchup that they would have to face against the Patriots, they match up really well because they're very similar in their style of game. So I think it would be a very good matchup. It's not going to be a cakewalk, though, for the Raiders. Their schedule is not that easy. They've got to play the NFC East, which have 3 solid teams in it. And they also have to play the AFC East. So they're going to see the Patriots early in the year. Luckily, they get them in Oakland in November. So they'll be able to see right off the bat. It'll be a good measuring to see where they're at, and if they're able to step up at that point. And then they also have to play their division. San Diego looks like, they might be a little better this year, depending on who you talk to, how they feel. I personally don't think San Diego is that good of a team, but there's a lot of people who argue that fact with me. But the biggest thing was Kansas City, and that seemed to be the Raiders' kryptonite as well, because they lost twice to them last year. So if they want to get over this hump and start making a serious push towards the Super Bowl, they're going to need to win their division, and they're going to need to beat Kansas City to do it. So they're going to have to review a lot of tape and figure out what exactly it was that Kansas City did to beat them, because they beat them convincingly. So they've got their work cut out for them. But you know what? When you actually look at who they are as a team, they can absolutely do it. They have the talent now. I think it's going to come down to a lot of coaching. Obviously, they have a good coach. So I think they should be able to get past Kansas City this year. This should be the year that they can move past them. Now, I said the issue might be when you get in the playoffs, I feel like the Raiders need to get home field advantage through the regular season if they're going to actually make it to the Super Bowl. I don't think they are ready yet to walk into Foxborough in December and January and beat Brady in his house. That is a very tall task to ask that team, who is still kind of young, mentally. So, that's a very tall task. So I feel like for them to actually get into the Super Bowl, they're probably going to need home field advantage, because that's one of those games. If they're playing the Patriots and they're playing in New England, I'm probably taking the Patriots. Now, if they're playing in Oakland, that's up in the air. Flip a coin like, ooh, yes, Brady is hard to beat anytime. But when you're playing him away from his own house, they got to cross the country to play him. You might have something there. So, keep an eye out for that. But that's my reasons why I think the Raiders are a legit team, the second best team in the AFC, and they will seriously contend for a Super Bowl this year, as long as everybody stays healthy, which is always, that one thing that can kill you in a heartbeat. Is injuries will take you down faster than anything. So as long as they stay healthy, David Carr comes back completely healthy, then they'll be 100% ready to go. So I think the only thing that can stop them is them. As long as they're ready to play, then they'll be ready to play, and you'll watch them in the Super Bowl, and you'll look back at this video and be like, damn, he was absolutely right. So I just want to give a shout out to my boy Murph. Huge Raider fan, has been since day one, which is a long, long time ago, because we're getting up there now. And unfortunately, he's never seen his team win a Super Bowl. He saw him go once. That didn't work out too well. But he's a diehard fan, so we want to see him get it. We want to see the fans in Oakland get one before they up and leave for Las Vegas. Those fans are pretty diehard, so I'd like to see them get one. Obviously, I don't want to see him get one, because if anything, I'd like to go to Super Bowl, and I don't want to have to play him and beat him, because that would just, that might ruin friendships and shit. So we don't want all that to happen. But my boy Murph, this could be your year, buddy. And anybody looking for some good quality clothing, anything like that, you got to check out his website too, on Facebook or Instagram, Relentless Clothing. It's where it's at, up and coming. I'll catch you guys later.